Hello there. Welcome to our first writing exercise in this textbook. I'm on page 7 and we're still in the chapter about seasons, so this is related to the seasons. And this is a paragraph that has a lot of mistakes, and we need to go through and find the mistakes. So I want to bring this up full screen for just a second. And I'm going to read this paragraph for you the way it's written. And I want you to think about those of you preparing for the high set or the GED. If you were to turn this in as your essay, if this would pass. First of all, an essay is longer than one paragraph. But I want you to listen to me read this just the way it's written. Okay? Here we go. Solstice and Equinox. There are 4 important days related to the seasons. The start of summer is called the summer solstice. This is the day with the most daylight hours in the year. The start of winter, or the winter solstice, is the day with the least amount of daylight. The first day of fall is called the autumnal equinox. The first day of spring is called the vernal equinox. These days have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. Is that okay? No, it is not okay. And you may know people who talk this way. They just exhaust you when you're talking to them because they speak so fast and they never take a breath. That is not the way we want to write. So before we try to fix this paragraph, I want to read it again, and I'm going to do some editing. I'm going to mark the errors to teach you how to proofread and how to mark proofing errors. And then we'll fix it. Then we'll write it correctly. So let's start with the title. Now, what have we learned about titles? When we write titles, how do we capitalize? We know that the first word has to be capitalized. The last word has to be capitalized. And all important words in the title. So this one, let me try that again. We need the first word, we need the last word, and is not important. So what I've done, this is the symbol for, this means you need to capitalize. When I draw 3 lines under there, means that needs to be a capital letter. So go ahead and mark those. You can use a red pen or whatever you want. But we're basically looking for mistakes. Okay, the first word of a sentence needs to be capitalized. There are 4 important days related to seasons. There needs to be a stop sign right there. There are 4 important days related to seasons. That is a statement. That's information. So that needs to be a full stop. What about this word for right here? Is that okay? What's the rule that we've learned? If it's 0 to 9, I have to spell it out. So that is not okay. Okay, there are 4 important days related to seasons. Here's a new sentence, so it needs to be capitalized. If you have a full stop, you have a capital letter. The start of summer, we don't capitalize summer, is called the summer solstice. So here's a stop sign. And if that's a stop sign, that's a capital. This is the day with the most daylight hours in the year. Full stop. Capitalize. The start of winter, or the winter solstice, is the day with the least amount of daylight. Full stop. Capitalize. The first day of fall is called the autumnal equinox. Full stop. Capitalize. The first day of spring is called the vernal equinox. Full stop, capitalize. These days have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. Full stop, and there's nothing to capitalize. There is still one serious error in this paragraph. There is an appositive in the paragraph that I did not mark. So let's read it again and see if you can hear the appositive. Solstice and equinox. There are 4 important days related to the seasons. The start of summer is called the summer solstice. This is the day with the most daylight hours in the year. The start of winter, or the winter solstice, is the day with the least amount of daylight. The first day of fall is called the autumnal equinox. The first day of spring is called the vernal equinox. These days have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. Do you hear the appositive? Sorry. Right there. The start of winter, or the winter solstice, is the day with the least amount of daylight. So the appositive is right here. The winter solstice is the same thing as the start of winter. So it's referring us back to that start of winter. So that appositive needs those commas in there. Okay, so we are ready to rewrite this paragraph correctly. And we have annotated our notes. We know what to do. We just need to write it down. Okay, so I'm going to get a black pen to use, and I'm going to have to zoom in because I have to be able to see the lines. But the first thing we need to do is write our title correctly, and we know how to do that. You capitalize the first word. And is not important. And the last word, no matter what it is. Okay, the first thing I need to do is indent about an inch. So I'm going to move that line over, capitalize the first word. There are 4 important. If you don't know how to spell it, look back at the paragraph. Spelling mistakes are okay unless they're there in front of you, and then it's not okay. So if it's there, please use it. There are 4 important days related to seasons. Full stop. If you're typing this after a full stop, you put 1 space and you capitalize the next word. The start of summer is called the summer solstice. So basically the first day of summer is called the summer solstice. I looked this up. You do not capitalize summer solstice. That drives me crazy. I want so much to capitalize it, but the rule said do not capitalize it. So full stop. This is the day with the most daylight hours in the year. Capitalize this. This is the day, longest day of the year, because it has the most daylight hours. This is going to happen in June. If you need to pause the video, that's fine. Full stop. The start of winter, or the winter solstice, is the day with the least amount of daylight. Remember, we don't capitalize winter, but here comes the appositive, so put your comma. Or the winter solstice is the day with the least amount of daylight. Full stop. Capitalize. The first day of fall is called the autumnal. Remember, autumn is another name for fall, so autumnal. We're taking the word autumn, the noun, and making it an adjective. Autumnal equinox. Full stop. Equinox means equal. The first day of spring is called the vernal equinox. Full stop. These days have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. Full stop. Okay. I still have a mistake in my paragraph, and I'm going to read it and see if you can find it. This is much better than what we had above, but there's still a mistake in here, so see if you can spot it by listening to my voice. Solstice and equinox. There are 4 important days related to seasons. The start of summer is called the summer solstice. This is the day with the most daylight hours in the year. The start of winter, or the winter solstice, is the day with the least amount of daylight. The first day of fall is called the autumnal equinox. The first day of spring is called the vernal equinox. These days have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. I found another mistake as I was reading through there, which is why you always proofread your work. One of the mistakes, though, the one that I intentionally made, is right here. I am missing a comma with my appositive right there, because here's that appositive that we've already identified. So we need a comma in front of it and a comma behind it. It's easy to miss one of those. So make sure that you got that one. And the other mistake that I made, I left out a word. The first day of fall is called the autumnal equinox. So I'm just going to squeeze that right in there. But always proofread your work. Make sure that you have exactly what you need, because it's easy to overlook something. But this is a much improved paragraph. Once we break it into sentences, it's much easier to read and understand. Okay, in the next video we're going to annotate this just for practice and really understand what it's saying to us, because these are terms that you could easily see on a science test, and I want to be sure that you know what they mean. But this video is getting long, so I'll stop it and I'll see you in the next one.